Hey guys, well I know it's been a while, but day job's been keeping me busy. Lots of other stuff going on, nothing to do with vintage radios and guitars and stuff. But looks like I might have a bit of time over the next couple of weeks. So next up, having basically got my shortwave setup kind of satisfactory now, is I'm going to see if I can get this guitar finished. Mixed success, well, no success really so far with the spray booth, so I'll show you that. But I think I have a plan B which might work, so yeah, we'll get into all of that. So let's have a quick update on what's happening vis-a-vis the spray booth. So this is the extent of the instructions that came with the greenhouse kit. Wasn't in color by the way when I got it, but I noticed that if you just look at these without any color in them, they all look pretty much the same. There's no indication about length or anything. So anyway, I decided to color them all in so I'd know what went where. As it turned out, I didn't really need to, because when I got the steel tubes out of the box, they're all clearly marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. So anyway, I put the frame together internally, and the reality is it takes up the entire workshop. You can't get in, you can't get out, you can't do anything. So plenty of room inside for spraying, but yeah, not really practical, because there was no way I could, between spray coats, get it out on the bench, do the sanding and whatever, and then carry on. So the frame is not of any use. So plan B, which I'm going to have a shot at, is to take the canopy itself. Here's the canopy right here, still in its box. And I'm going to see if I can nail it onto the beams on the roof here. I'm going to have to take my RC airplane down, put that somewhere for a while. But I figure if I can tack the plastic sheeting itself onto the roof beams and let it just hang down, hopefully that'll work. Probably going to make any sort of filtering bummer, but anyway, who knows? That's the plan. So if that works, I've already got the ground sheets and everything to protect everything. I'm going to leave the table saw inside because I can use it for keeping stuff on, etc. Be like a little bench inside in the spray area. Yeah, so next question is, do I spray the guitar as two halves and then bolt them up, or do I bolt it and glue it up first and then spray it as a single instrument? And well, I guess the more I think about it, if I built this as a as a glued-on neck, then it would all be glued up together by the time we got to spraying. So I think we're going to glue it all up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I've done a dry fit, just to make sure nothing has changed since the last time. And one of the things it reminded me to do is to plug all these holes before we go spraying. Because a lot of the filler that I used here got down these holes, and so when I went to temporarily refit the bridge here, the post wouldn't go down these holes. I had to drill them out again. So I think we're good. I think the alignment is good. So I'm going to use epoxy to glue this up, mainly because I have an ebony tongue here and I don't trust any water-based glue with a dense oily wood like ebony. And so this stuff dries rock hard, and so I also got the slow setting stuff, so this is like 90 minutes, so this will give me hopefully plenty of time if I suddenly discover any little problems that need to be taken care of, and hopefully it won't make too big of a mess. Alright guys, so it's glued up. I was very careful. I masked all this off just in case I had any overspill, because I didn't want to get on wood. So far so good. The only complication is I had previously cut screws to the right length to bolt through from the back, but because I had raised the neck up about 2 mil or something, these guys were not too short, and there isn't a lot of thread grip here, so when I wanted the maximum pulling force, obviously. So I went back to full length screws, and well, they're probably glued in. As you can see, there's loads of glue there. So I'm probably not going to be able to get these guys back out, so I'll just have to cut them off and grind them down. No big deal. And so the plug is fitted here as well. And yeah, the only complication I realize is for spraying now, it's going to be a little bit more of a hassle. Because when I do the black along the back, it's going to have to come up around here and go around this little strip and around the other side, so it's going to be more complicated masking off on the front. But hey, alright, so that's just on. It says 90 minutes to cure, so I'm not going to come near this thing for another 2 hours. Spot of lunch, I think. A little bit of Helen Forest, why not? An inspiration, tears are all I have to show. No, gotta say, I do like my Seinnheiser radio. Okay, that's it for today. So I've cut off and ground the hardened screws, and I'm not sure what they're made of, but they're very, very tough. And on the back, I filled in the holes with mahogany filler. This screw comes out. I verified that it didn't get glued in, which is nice. Incidentally, I checked on the website where I got this, and it says it's a mahogany blank. So who am I to argue? But you can see the color of the mahogany filler here, and any mahogany I've ever worked with building instruments has looked like this. So whatever type of mahogany this is, it's way different than the usual type that I've worked on guitars before. So anyway, that's it. I think it's probably a little bit more finishing and just cleaning up, and then we'll have to see about getting this spray booth built. Right guys, a bit of another side project here. I got a request for another of these antique type chairs, so I didn't have any, so I went rustling through all the spare bits and pieces I had lying around, and I found a back and a seat and a front. None of these three pieces ever belonged to the same chair before, so we're going to try and put them all together. So I already spent a fair amount of time cleaning up the two joints at the rear here on each side to get this seat to fit into the back. There are some signs of woodworm historically here, which is only to be expected. And on the back of the seat here, it's particularly noticeable. I'll show you later. And so when the time comes, we'll probably get to the hot air light treatment to fill all that let up. So I've got the seat almost fitted properly into the back here. It's very close. This sort of overhang around the back here is almost the same. It's a bit more on this side than on that side. So I might do a little bit more work on this, because there's still a little bit of a gap there that I might be able to close. So we'll work a little bit more on that. So I've taken out all the busted dowels from the holes. These guys over here seem to be glued solid, so I'm going to try and leave them if I can. Not quite sure what to do here, because the front is sitting on the webbing, which means this front piece here is not actually a wood-to-wood contact. Don't like that. I think for weight carrying purposes, I need that wood firmly butting against the wood of this seat. So I might have to, I don't know, cut a rabbit or something around the back here to accommodate the webbing. And of course, sod's law, the two mounting holes, the screws go up here and here to mount it into the frame. They don't quite line up with the ones that are there already. They're very close, but not close enough, and so I'm going to have to fill the holes here with dowel. So I found some dowels. So at least now I know I have a complete set of parts that will hopefully go together and make a chair. All using wood of a similar era. All I gotta do now is make all the parts fit together. Okay, so we have a reasonable dry fit now of all the pieces. So before I assemble anything, we're gonna need to address the dreaded woodworm holes. So I'm going to try a technique that I was shown by somebody very keen on antiques, and I have no idea what this does to the value, but since, like normally this, you'd get rid of it, but this is all we got, so I got to make the best. So the idea is you get some super glue, mix it all up, you put it on the where the start of the hole or end of the hole, whatever. Then you heat it up and the glue becomes much more liquid, seeps down into the holes, and you look for it coming out somewhere further down. Once you see it coming out, you wipe it off and tape it up, and then you just keep heating and filling until it won't go down the hole anymore. Another distraction. I have one of those office chairs that I use with the computer, doing videos and stuff, and yesterday there was a bang, and what I can best describe as a shower of black plastic particles flew all over the room. And it turns out that the whole air piston and rotating mechanism in here just decided to die. So I'm not about to try and resurrect it as was, but I'm going to do a little kludge, hopefully that will at least get my chair back. I'm going to plug that central hole there with a hardwood dowel and then drill it out at the diameter of the post that's on the bottom of the seat, and then I won't have any up and down anymore, but at least I'll have rotation. No, I don't have any wood turning facilities at all, never done any, but I found a nice piece of hardwood, but it was just about 2 mil oversized to go down into that hole there. So yeah, we're doing a sort of a kludge here that I bolted a little bolt onto one end of it, stuck it in the chuck here, and I'm just holding a rasp to the other side of it to get rid of those couple of mil on the ODs so it'll fit down the hole. Well, here's a 30-minute job that's taken all day. So I finally got this insert ready. And my major problem was I didn't have a Forstner bit, an inch that was long enough that I could drill all the way through this. and so various bits of faffing around to get the hole through, but it's there, and it's a nice snug fit on the shaft coming out of the bottom of the seat. So I'm going to line this with wax, and I'm going to wax the shaft, and then we're going to glue this guy in here. And so I left plenty of room so that there'd be lots of room for glue. I'm going to glue that overnight, there like that, and tomorrow I'll fit the rest of it and put it back together. Okay, there we go. Let's leave that overnight to soak, and whoops, and we'll check it out. Hopefully the rest is just a simple matter of sliding the seat shaft down in there, and if I can fix it from underneath I will, but I don't think I need to anyway. Here's what's left of what was inside the swivel joint originally in the chair. You can see they obviously decided to save a little bit on the plastic, and instead of making it solid, just make it finned. It seems like once the top surface cracked, the whole thing started to disintegrate. Seems a shame that having gone to so much trouble with the rest of the chair that you'd skimp on something like this, resulting in the whole, I would imagine for 99% of the people who have these things, that this would just end up in the landfill just because of an oversight like that. So there we go, following day, chair back together. Seems to work just fine. Seems a shame to have thrown all that away just because that swivel joint on the bottom collapsed.